Yo, welcome back to another Pokemon Scarlet VGC video. I'm your host, Jose Rocks, and today we're going to be congratulating Marco Silva because he actually just won his third international. And spoiler alert, if you guys didn't already see it from the thumbnail, Marco Silva and his brother Pietro Silva both won the international regionals this weekend. Marco winning the Masters division and Pietro winning the seniors division, right? So that's really cool. Don't quote me on this, but I think that's the first time that we've had brothers win the same event the same day that was an international. So that may be the first. So I wanted to go over something that I noticed with his team that's a little bit similar to something that we may have seen in the past. I'm not sure if this is what inspired his team, but it's what I picked up on. So back in series, I want to say in Sword and Shield, back in like what was it, series 12, there was an archetype. It's called Swordfish, with Zacian and Kyogre, and it was extremely strong, right? And to scroll down here, we look at Marco's team. But back to what I was saying. So the Swordfish was pretty strong. It was Kyogre and Zacian, right? And usually you would see like Tornadus, Rillaboom, just a combination of those type of mons on that team, that core, plus like two other mons, right? You have like a Thundurus as well, stuff like that. So that team was really popular and was really dominant in the meta. And there was a player named Rinya, right? And he wanted to come up with something that had a good matchup until that Swordfish team, and was able to, you know, kind of take it off the map. So he came up with an idea of a team that was sun-based with Gastrodon and Groudon, right? And it was ended up being named Rinya's Sun, and was based off of a very powerful Sun core. So if we pull up what the Rinya's Sun looks like, this is what the first archetype of it was. Of course, throughout the season, there was a bunch of different variations of this team, and like changing the sets and changing the items. Like some of them had like weakness policy Charizard, some had Chartyberry Charizard with Rock Slide for the turns in the max Rockfall, or was it Ancient Power? It was, I believe it's Ancient Power. It turns into max Rockfall for the mirror match and things like that. So this became one of the dominant archetypes, and it came about because of the Swordfish Rain archetype, right? And I say that too because I want to point out some similarities to this team and Marco's team. But Marco's team, if you see, it won this regional, right? And the previous regional, international, the previous regional that he got second place at, he lost to a rain team, right? And look what got second place at this tournament, another rain team. So if you swap out, like, if you think about it, Kyogre, here's your water type rain setter, right? Also, here's your steel type, or Gordingo could be your steel type. It's like your Zacian, and you have this similar to Swordfish, but it's like, you know, Sword Dragon or whatever. Not Sword Dragon, but Pelican Dragon. But it's pretty similar. What I'm trying to say is that it's a steel type in rain, and it was very dominant, right? And Marco pretty much figured out a recipe to beat these rain teams, and that's with Sun. So this team is very reminiscent to me of Rinya's Sun, and there's some obvious, you know, comparisons. We have the Charizard, which is the main damage dealer for this team, and if you think about Rinya's Sun, Charizard with Dynamax was like one of the most powerful attacks that you can have in Sword and Shield, where you go for Blast Burn, which turns into G-Max Wildfire, and in the Sun with Solar Power. Sometimes you would see like Life Orb on this, and in the Sun with Solar Power, and then it's boosted by being Dynamax, turning into Max G-Fire. It's very hard to switch into. Like even the Incineroar was taking like 80-90%, right? And then if you weren't a fire type, then the chip damage that G-Max Wildfire does at the end of each turn just ticks you out, right? So it breaks through sashes, and it's just really powerful. This Charizard was just a huge component of the Rinya's Sun, and that's similar to what this Charizard does. You also have your Incineroar here, right? Pretty similar Incineroar, right? Back then we didn't have knockoff, but as you see, it was just, you know, the Flare Blitz, Darkest Lariat, Parting Shot, Fake Out, right? Same thing on this core. Let's pull up his team real quick. Flare Blitz, knockoff, Parting Shot, Fake Out. Pretty much same thing, right? Citrus Berry there, Figgy Berry here. Figgy Berry was pretty good on this set because in Dynamax Incineroar, when it did take damage, it was getting knocked down more so into the Figgy Berry range rather than Citrus Berry range. So it was a lot better for you to go with the Figgy Berry there. But same idea, but like I said, we didn't have knockoff on the center, or they buffed it coming into this gen, so he would run Lariat, right? Here's Charizard with double fire plus a flying type attack, similar to his double fire with triple fire because he has weather ball instead of like protect his choice specs. The other Charizards didn't need choice specs because in Dynamax, choice specs will actually not work when you Dynamax, right? So that's why you wouldn't run that item. But so he has something like weather ball over protect here, and then you have your flying type attack, right? All right. So now you want to think about the next component of this team, Jump Bluff, which is really disruptive with Sleep Powder, Sunny Days, Tailwind for speed control, Rage Powder, right? Now you look at the Grimmsnarl. This is going to be your disruptor that takes the place of the Jump Bluff, right? You got the, of course, this has damage though, right? But you have the Trick and Thunder Wave, which gives you unique speed control. Thunder Wave is for the instant 50% drop in your speed plus the chance to paralyze you. And Trick, when you trick the Iron Ball, it also cuts their speed in half and also grounds them. So if you have something like a Thunderous and it wants to be in front of like Grimmsnarl and Groudon, you can trick an Iron Ball onto Thunderous, half its speed, and then allow Precipice Blades to hit the Thunderous for super effective damage and just one hit KO it, which is a really cool strategy that a lot of people would not prepare for, right? And I honestly don't know why we don't see this more in like Regulation G, because I think it was really good for hitting like flying types and levitating mons that may be immune to Precipice Blades, right? It's just that Precipice Blades are so inaccurate, but I think if they do eventually buff this in the future just to keep up with the other restrictors, all they need to do is make this 100% accurate and Groudon to be broken, right? So, and restrictors are supposed to be broken, so I don't see why you shouldn't do that. And then of course you have Reflect, which is your damage mitigation. Jump Bluff doesn't really have damage mitigation, but it does like have it does reduce the damage of water type attacks in the sun, right, with the sunny day. So it's kind of similar to that, plus it has redirection. But this is your disruptor, right? Same thing with Grimmsnarl, that's going to be your disruptor for that team. Next we have your bulky mon that can play in Trick Room, that's hard to remove from the field and can recover. When you think about it, you have the same thing here with the Gastrodon. Bulky mon that can play inside of Trick Room. It's really here for the Trick Room core, right? You can play with like Zacian with Protect, Incineroar, Gastrodon, and Grimmsnarl, or you can bring your Groudon, either one. That was the option into Trick Room, or you can just leave the Grimmsnarl, play with Incineroar, Gastrodon, Groudon, and Zacian, and kind of like swap out and start out the Trick Room. So it was really good Trick Room component because Gastrodon was very hard to remove and pressure with Yawn. Once Trick Room is set up, you can always protect, get leftovers healing, and it's just very hard to remove. And it also prevents you from being able to go for like max Geyser with like Kyogre's or any powerful water type attacks if the rain is up, because it just redirects into Gastrodon. So it was a key component of that team, right? Just like Porygon is of this team. So next we have your Sunsetter, which is going to be Torkoal, right? Torkoal was pretty meant to here do a lot of damage with the Eruption and the Overheat. If you don't respect it, then you can get hit with Eruption. If you do respect it, then you can't really knock out Torkoal in one turn. The Overheat gives a free switch in to another mon next to Jump Love, right? Which was a really cool strategy because you can lead these two, set up your Tailwind, Overheat, and get the free switch in the Charizard on the Tailwind, and it was very hard to outposition that, right? Similar to this Groudon, it's just a bulky Sunsetter that's very hard to remove, that's able to switch in and out to allow these mons to be set up for success, right? And once like Grimmsnarl like slows your opponent's team down, Charizard just comes in and just cleans up things with G-Max Wildfire, so it's really powerful. And last but not least, because we went over the Incineroar, the Torkoal, we have the physical sweeper. That's your second sweeper next to Groudon, next to Charizard, right? And that's going to be Ursaluna. Now you could say maybe Groudon plays this role too, but Groudon is really your Sunsetter, right? And we're thinking of just someone that's going to be dealing big damage and pick up one-hit KOs. Ursaluna is the one for this team, and with the Rinya Sun team, you had Zacian, right? Because it was a double restricted. But I'm just trying to show you the similarities of the roles of the mons on this team, which is very similar to Rinya Sun. So Zacian was your other sweeper outside of Charizard that's able to deal with double damage with Behemoth Blade, which this Ironhead turns into when Zacian enters the game, right? And it's able to deal double damage to Dynamax, which is really crucial. Similar to the Ursaluna with Facade, once you get your guts going, pretty much just one-shots everything that's neutral to it. And Headlong Rush also one-shots everything that's neutral. And if you resist it, you're still taking like 50-60%. So it's very hard to switch into, just like Zacian was, and you kind of need like Intimidate to slow it down, right? But it can also switch out to get rid of the Intimidate boost, just like the old Zacian, which will always get an attack boost whenever it touched the field. So I just wanted to showcase some similarities to the Sun team and Marco's Sun team. For me, I'm gonna start calling this team, because now that this is one, you're gonna see variants of this team pop up on a ladder, because the Archaludon archetype in Rain with Pelipper is so powerful for Regulation H, right? And for this last month, now that we gonna be going into a new format, if a format ever comes back like this that's similar, or just this last month of this format, people are gonna really want to have counters to Archaludon Rain. And as you see, what beat Swordfish and Sword and Shield, it was Rinya's Sun. And now we have Marco's Son that's able to beat the Archaludon Pelipper teams, especially with Basculesian. Basculesian also doesn't like this matchup, right? So this is just a really good, team to slow that stuff down and be able to deal with it. And you see, like, if you look at the top cut, he had the only Sun team in the top 8, right? None of these, they had a couple fire types, but none of them were running like Sunny Day or anything like that, right? And also, it wasn't any rain, but these two rain and sun archetypes were just dominating this tournament, right? So it's pretty cool to see it win. And like I said, as soon as I saw, like, the core of this team and how he was playing it with the Charizard, it just was so reminiscent of the Rinya Sun team. So let me know with a comment down below, guys, if you guys like the Rinya Sun variant better, or if you like this new Marco Sun. Marco Sun, of course, has a lot of recency bias because this is Scarlet and Violet, and most people think that the terrestrialization mechanic is a lot better than Dynamax mechanic. But to me, I think it's pretty even. I started back playing competitive in Generation 8, so Dynamax was something that kind of brought me back to the game. So I have, like, a little bit of a passion for it, and I kind of just, I miss it. But I do understand that people that were playing like Gen 6 and Gen 7, which I didn't play, it kind of left, Dynamax kind of left a bad taste in their mouth, right? So let me know what you guys think. If you like this type of content, go ahead and subscribe for me, guys. Turn on those post notifications, and let me know, like I said, with a comment below, what do you think about Marco's Son, or do you think that Rinya's Son still did it better? But of course, this isn't a restricted format, so this is what we have. But like I said, these teams are very reminiscent. But that's gonna be it for this video. Just thought I'd throw out a quickie for you guys, and let me know with a comment below what you think. But I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay tuned, more videos soon. All right, deuces.